Hello everyone and welcome back to another album review. And in this video I'm going to review Lunatic House by Grimm. Grimm is the one-man power electronics / noise project of Jun Konagaya, an artist who has been around making some great noise music from back in the 80s. His most notable work is his very first album Folk Music, which was released back in 1986, and let me tell you, this has nothing to do about folk music. Then after this point there was a huge hiatus, and the next releases will come in 2013. And then after this point he would release other releases mostly in STEINKLANG Industries, a label that is mostly known for releasing some industrial and power electronics music, and lots of Jun Konagaya's works land on this label. For example, the latest Jun Konagaya solo album lands on STEINKLANG Industries. They also reissued and remastered the album Holocaust by White Hospital, a duo that consisted of Jun Konagaya and Tomo Kuwahara, who later moved into the project Basilic, whose later releases also land on STEINKLANG Industries. While his solo efforts with his own name would go to some organ and really experimental lo-fi chill music, his project as Grimm is, as it says, it's really Grimm. We're talking about some really nasty and really heavy power electronics with elements of sound that definitely consist of some classic Japan noise, but also with a touch of power noise, some rhythm, some tempos here and there with some really distorted beats, and then you can find this combination of modern classical organ music with heavy noise in Grimm albums, and this is something that happens a lot in Lunatic House. Instead, I would say that this album is where it happens the most. We have lots of tracks over here that consist of the usual sound you might find on a solo Jun Konagaya project, but it's also combined with a really nasty and heavy approach on noise and power electronics from Grimm. For example, just with the opening track Luna, it sets the tone for something really nasty to come up next. While the track starts a bit slow, as it progresses it gets more and more distorted. There's more noise coming to your way, and then it ends up on a really glitchy noise mess. Then after that it comes one of my other favorite moments on the album, which is Hand of Brute, one of the greatest examples of Grimm combining power noise with power electronics. The beat on this thing is extremely sick, there is a ton of distortion and especially in the vocals, and we're talking about a really loud track. And the album in general, when it comes to the mixing, it might be a bit of a mess. There are some other tracks that are way too loud into the mix. Most prime examples are the track Agave and Voodoo Drive, which when it comes to the power electronic segments, especially on Voodoo Drive, you have the vocals just being really loud in the mix, just almost covering everything else. And while I definitely like how it sounds and how he portrays all of those elements of music and the way the whole album is mixed and presented to the audience in this really sickening and disgusting way, in my opinion, what he does with this album does not reflect entirely what Jun Konagaya is capable of, because some of the ideas that are presented in this album are, in my opinion, some of the weakest moments in the entire Grimm discography. So far, almost everything I've heard from Grimm has some really nice and simplistic moments that manage to just grab your attention and being really straight into your face and make for a really sick concept and a really sick album. That kind of misses over here because I'm not really sure what's the main focus and the main direction he's trying to take in this album, as it seems that it takes more elements to his sound in his solo project as Jun Konagaya, since, like I said, half of the album, if not more, consists of so many elements of organ experimental lo-fi music, which is not necessarily a bad thing on its own, but what was definitely the appeal on this project was the way he will handle all of those sounds and make them sound really lo-fi, and there would be some nice ideas here and there, which is something that I don't really find in the majority on this album. This makes it for some of the moments ended up being quite underwhelming. Like after the two first tracks which prepared me for something really good, and I was highly anticipating how the rest of the album is going to sound like. Then it comes the track Tarantula, which is a really bland sound that, in my opinion, Grimm has done lots of times much better before. Then it's the same with the track Agave, which is actually one of the singles of this album. It's one of the teaser tracks, and while yeah, it's really loud, it has some of the great elements of power electronics, and it's almost separated into different parts. I don't think that anything sounds as engaging and as compelling. Same with the track Venomon, which once again has all those organ keyboard parts. Then it has a progressive noise sound, and the track doesn't lead to anything else. And the same is with the last track, the finisher, Halation, which at least I like more the idea and the structure of this song, but it's still nothing all that engaging and compelling, and you still have this progressive noise sound. In this very short and straightforward album, once again for Grimm, we also have the sixth track, Voodoo Drive, which goes for 13 minutes long. It has lots of different moments and parts, going for some slower moments to some others that will be really loud and really hard hitting. But once again, this track does not manage to lead into anything special, something that I haven't heard from Grimm just doing much better before with some previous projects. The album starts really strong with the first two cuts, but as the album progresses, some of the ideas would feel more deja vu, something that I have heard before from Junko Nagaya do better in the past. Most of the ideas over here don't manage to be all that memorable, and it is great discography so far when it comes to Grimm releases. This is possibly the most underwhelming album so far in his discography. I like the release, I think there are some solid tracks, but there is definitely more to be desired over here. Solid attempt, but not as intriguing as anything else he has done before. I'm going to give this album a 6 plus out of 10. What's your opinion of this album? Like it, dislike it, why, and what do you want me to review next time? Let me know down in the comments. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe for more content like this. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye.